Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. And now, celebrating 15 years of broadcasting, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM or through WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could tune into our program. Also, those joining us through our online affiliates around the world, including Conversations Radio Network. Well, for our author friends out there, you guys are going to really want to listen to this segment. Check out the podcast because I have a very exciting guest that's joining us today for the very first time. Uri Singer is with us today. He's the founder and CEO of Passage Films, which is a production company in Los Angeles, but he's also the co-founder of TaleFlick. Now, TaleFlick is a great platform that's been set up to help you authors to be able to showcase your work and to be able to be seen by movie and television studios. We're going to talk to Uri not only about his own work in film, but also what it's been like for him to do work that he loves, how TaleFlick came about, and, of course, walk you guys through the process of how you guys could join the site. Uri, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hello, how are you? Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for the time. So, Uri, as I mentioned to you before we began the segment, our author friends of this program are going to really enjoy this because I think so many of them have said, I think this will make a great movie. I think I have the story that will definitely be great for television. You've been able, through TaleFlick, to be able to create an opportunity for them to be seen by individuals who can make those decisions. We'll talk about that a bit in a second. But I want to talk about the process for you. I mean, what was it about film and production that first interested you, Uri?
So I started to produce movies 10 years ago. I had some businesses with some actors, merchandising, and I decided that I love movies so much, I want to make them. And it was funny because the first movie that I made was more of the business side of actually making the business of making a movie. And but right after, I decided to make better content, better movies. And then it guided me towards finding the best content, the best script, which is what eventually led to TaleFlick. The first movies that I made were smaller, and then I made some movies with Michael Almereyda. I made The Experimenter with Peter Sarsgaard and Winona Ryder, and then Marjorie Prime with John Hamm and Gina Davis and Tim Robbins. And those films were in Sundance and went through the award circuit and gave me a lot of prestige because the execution came well. So my experience in business helped me get those movies made.
Right. And I think, that is the exciting thing. And I actually, when I was prepping for your segment, Uri, I watched an interview that you did where you had an incident that happened, as I'm sure a lot of people in your profession do, where someone says to you, here's a great book, I think it would make, a great project. And then, of course, you were able to be instrumental in that process. How does that feel to know that you're being able to help individuals who have had a lifelong dream or desire to see their work being looked at by a production company? How does that feel to be able to help them in that process?
So this is a very satisfying experience. It is a very difficult, the system the way it is now, the industry is more, it's by relationship, who knows who, and there's so many content authors that wrote great books that never get a chance to be seen. The first book we optioned through TaleFlick, and maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but the first, when we called the author, Caroline Steele in London, she said, hold on, pitch me. I don't believe that you actually chose my book. And she said, and her book is not only written well, it is a great concept, a great premise, it's new, and we felt that there is a huge welcoming to the premise, and that why not? So why is it so hard for content, for authors around the world that have great stories and have great books to get them to the right people? And the reason is there's only the top bestsellers, the 200 top bestsellers, they go and they get direct into the top studios. So you have the sequels and the big authors that made already great movies and great adaptation. They get an immediate pass. It does not mean that the next book will be good or the next movie will be good, but that's how the system works. There's so many great stories out there, and individually, I found a book when I was shooting on set of Marjorie Prime in the Hamptons. I read the book, The King of Oil. A friend of mine said, "You have to read this book because it's a great story." I read the book. It was by a Swiss author, and it has been out for a while. It's about the life of Mark Rich, the billionaire that had a very interesting story. And I went to some friends of mine, and again, this is me living in Los Angeles and having access to the top studio heads, and I told them, listen, this is a great book and a great story, and the answer was, is it a bestseller? And when I said no, they said, we're not interested. And I pursued it, and I developed it, and I got the script made, and then luckily I got Matt Damon attached, and when Matt Damon attached, everybody was interested. So the story was there originally. I came to them originally with the great story. And the same as The King of Oil. There's so many good books out there that are not bestsellers, that don't have the access. And through the platform, through TaleFlick, we're able to give them access.
That's right. And what I love about it as well, Uri, that I think our audience will get as well, get excited about, is that the process is pretty straightforward. I mean, pretty much all of the instruction is directly on the website. The website is TaleFlick.com. For those joining us via the podcast, we'll be posting that in the link of the description of the podcast. For those joining us on the radio side, make sure you guys look for us on Facebook because we will be posting it there. Was that one of the things you wanted to make sure, Uri, in the creation of TaleFlick, that it was an easy process and one that was easy to follow and understand?
Yes, we tried to make it as easy as possible for the author and as simple as well. And from a business point of view, we want the author to understand that we're not taking anything from from any fees that will come. Meaning, when we get the book, it's a curation platform. So when we find a story that is that the content is evaluated on what's best for the screen and what best has the potential to go to screen. So even if the book, we do not look if the book is a bestseller or how many social media following. We look at the story. If the story is good and we believe that it fits for the screen, we will pitch it to the studios. And if the studios and the producers that are interested will option it, TaleFlick does not get any part of it. We do not take anything. We wanted it to be the author for his work, once it's chosen, to get everything as a whole. We will get only if the movie will go into production from the budget, from the back end. After, if there will be profits, then TaleFlick will get a small percentage. So the business model really takes care of the author from the day an author uploads the book into TaleFlick. And later on this month, there will be a marketplace. The author can actually upload to his own page the pitch that he wants, a one-pager that he decides to do that can be visible for producers if he chooses to. So we are advancing the model to become not only a library of original content, a searchable library, but also a marketplace between authors and scriptwriters.
Right. Now, I think the other thing that you mentioned and that I think is so important for our audience out there is that, of course, every author is going to believe that their book is the best. Every author is going to believe that theirs will be, the best movie, the best television show. How important is it for the storytellers out there, Uri, that listen to this conversation and thinking about TaleFlick to really consider, is this really, for one, their best work and a story that they believe is ready to be considered?
So that's a very good point. An author invests a lot of time and creation and dedication to write a book, and they obviously they believe that their book is the best, or the story that they're telling is very interesting to others. What we found is a book that is very interesting today might not be interesting for the studios or for the movie makers or for the TV screeners within a year or two. Or, for that matter, a book that was written 10 years ago suddenly is relevant because everything is changing. The political climate can change. Many things can change. And then it becomes suddenly interesting for the studios to make a movie out of it. So that's the advantage of keeping the book in the library. It might not be chosen this year, but next year it might become very relevant, or it might not be interesting to a handful of producers that are looking today, but another producer from another country suddenly decide that this is exactly the story he's looking for. So if you're a producer and you go into the website and you're looking for an alien that lives in Kansas and has with a female lead that fights him, today that might be not relevant, but a year from now that might be exactly it, because it would be somebody will have something in Kansas that is really in the news, and then everybody will jump and it would become hot again. So to your question, you never know. It is, if the story is good, it can be interesting to adaptation immediately, or it can be good a year from now or 2 years from now.
That's right. And again, that's why being a part of the platform is so important. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. Uri Singer is our guest for this segment. He's the CEO and founder of Passage Pictures, a production company located in Los Angeles, but also the co-founder of TaleFlick, which is a new platform that has been set up to help authors be able to share their work with studios to be considered for creation into television shows as well as with movies. We're going to remind you guys about the website. So if there are authors out there who are listening to this conversation, Uri, and they think, okay, you know what, I'm ready. I want to go ahead and try this. Will you walk our audience through the process, please?
Sure. After you go to TaleFlick.com, you click upload your book. You upload your book, and there is a questionnaire. The questionnaire is questions regarding your book, but it's not what you would do to sell the book. It is more for us to have some data points that we cross-reference in our algorithm to find out how good it will be to adapt it to the screen. So the question can be on the plot. The question can be not necessarily the questions you want to write on the back of the book in order to sell the book, but more questions that we have determined in order for us to curate better your book. And then once you do that, you wait for the updates from our side, and within a month you will have your own page that you will be able to go and check not only the update, you will be able to talk to other authors and to scriptwriters from Hollywood or around the world, and the scriptwriters will be vetted by TaleFlick. So if you wrote a book in New Jersey or in Tennessee or in Mississippi or in the south of France, and you do not know, and you want to pursue a script and you do not know how, or you do not know how to find a scriptwriter, you will be able to do that on the marketplace, and it will be screenwriters that are vetted by TaleFlick, so you will know that at least you're getting a script.
Right. Wow. What a great thing. And, you mentioned earlier about how satisfying it is for you. I mean, and what a great thing, that authors now have an opportunity to do. Technology has definitely made this a lot easier, Uri, of a process. I mean, for you and I who have never met, technology is making possible this conversation for our radio audience and our podcast listeners. TaleFlick is also taking advantage of social media. How has social media helped you to be able to build your audience as well as to get the word out?
So that's a very good point, Cyrus. We are advertising to the authors only on Facebook at the moment, and we are getting we're a new brand, and it is my partner is a veteran. He worked at Apple for 7 years in the iTunes, putting the movies on the platform, and then he worked for Netflix, building some of their studios platform. So both of us are very qualified to take the content into the studios and the producers, but the authors, we have to reach individually. And that's where Facebook is very, very helpful. We advertise only on Facebook, authors from around the world. We have from 21 countries already uploading their books, and finding the platform very easy to upload and are very satisfied.
Right. And I think that is the exciting thing. I know I shared it as we were having this conversation today. Uri invited authors who I know, who I've had this conversation with, to actually like the Facebook page. So word of mouth is definitely playing a role. And as you said, thousands are already flocking to TaleFlick online through Facebook to be able to connect with the brand there. What is your hope as you go throughout 2019? I know that you've both been very busy with conversations like this and, of course, doing work with TaleFlick, and we appreciate this time. What is your hope that TaleFlick is able to achieve this year?
So, TaleFlick, I hope that more and more books will be optioned. When Fortitude International, a sales company that produces 5 to 6 movies a year, approached us and chose a book called Madame Presidenta, by the first female running for president in the United States before women were allowed to vote. And there was a press release about that. She got so many, such a big feedback and so much love and attention. She's developing it now to a TV series, and the gratification for us would be that more and more books not only will be optioned and developed, but will actually become movies and TV series. That's a lengthy process, but we are very happy that major studios and dozens of producers are reading the books, are excited they trust the value that we give them, which is a searchable library of content. They trust what we choose. We even had a big studio, a major studio, asking us if we can curate the books that they have because they like so much our curation process. So I look for 2019 for TaleFlick to have a bigger, more success rates that will become movies and keep on doing that, become the biggest library of original content.
Well, we're looking forward to that as well. Again, an exciting opportunity, Uri, that TaleFlick has made available again for authors out there. A great way for them to be able to take that step to make sure that their work is in a position to be discovered. And I think that is the thing. It really is put on the author at this point to be able to take advantage of the opportunity, and they can do that by going to TaleFlick.com. Make sure you guys are following TaleFlick on Facebook, as you heard Uri mention. We're going to be tagging TaleFlick as well with our post of the podcast as well as the radio interview as well. Uri, really appreciate this time, and it goes without saying you're welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. Thank you, and thank you to all the authors and all your listeners. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're more than welcome. We appreciate you, and we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. If you all came in late, you missed part of the conversation with Uri, don't worry. Thanks to our online friends, you all can catch the replay right after we go off the air. The link is already available through our podcast link that's on our social media. So head over to Facebook.com/CyrusWebb or go to Twitter.com/CyrusWebb. If you click on the link there, you can listen to the show completely for free and share with your friends from there, too. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make it a great one.